It's the Jaden Show, and here's your host, Jaden Cornelius. Sunday, and it's the Jaden Show. I'm trying something a little bit different this week. I'm trying to be a little bit more up close and personal contigo with you this week. So welcome to the Jaden Show. I'm Jaden, and I'm so grateful that you are watching me. I have an amazing show in store for you today. I have Bobby Cronin hailing all the way from the US of A. He is an award-winning composer, writer for theatre, short film, web, dance, and more. The boy does everything, and we're going to go and meet him. So let's not wait any longer. Bobby Cronin, welcome to the Jaden Show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
It's amazing to see how you're doing.
I'm doing well.
And how is New Jersey?
Jersey. It's great. I have no complaints here. Yeah, I'm just, 5 minutes from Manhattan, and I can see all the buildings out my window. It's nice view.
Man.
It's great.
Very different to where I'm living then. It feels the jungle's in Mexico.
Very similar.
Mm-hmm. I'm reading your list of everything you do, from lyricist, book writer, studio producer, arranger, educator, award-winning composer, writer for theatres and short film, dance. I mean, do you teach baking as well? I mean, what can you?
No, I can't cook at all. I can eat. I'm very good at eating, but as long as it's vegetarian. But no, I'm not good at being idle. I'm not good at sitting still. I get bored so quickly. Yeah, the beach is my favorite place to go, but I sit there for 5 minutes and I'm like, now what?
My geography is really, really bad. So is kind of New York, New Jersey, near a beach?
Yeah, parts of it.
What sea is it on? What ocean or sea?
Atlantic.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But, the Jersey Shore is parts of the Jersey Shore are only about 30 minutes from me.
Wow.
You can drive down to, I think it's about 3 hours as well, would be all the way through the Jersey Shore. And then in New York State, there are beaches as well. And then Connecticut's really close by, has some really pretty beaches too.
See, I need to spend more time in this study in the United States of America, because I've been to New York. I sang in New York.
Nice.
A good few years ago when I was 6. No, it was about, oh God, I can't even remember, but I sang in, I even had the bloody, I can't remember the name of it, the Duplex.
Oh yeah.
I sung in the Duplex.
I did my very first concert in New York City ever. No, that's not true. My second concert in New York City ever at the Duplex.
Wow. And then I sung in China, is it like a Chinatown or a Filipino area or something? It was quite scary, actually, and quite scary.
There is Chinatown. There's also Koreatown. Koreatown is a lot of karaoke bars.
Oh no, I think this was Chinatown then.
Chinatown, yeah.
Yeah. And I sung literally there the next day. That was quite an interesting experience. To be fair, it was like a scene from a movie, actually. But the Duplex was amazing, and it was really cool. I saw my poster of Jaden, one night only from London, direct from London for one night only. In New York, I'm like, oh my God, I've done everything I need to do now. And
it's cool because so many really famous people have played there.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. The Duplex, it's been there for ages, and from Joan Rivers to Pasek and Paul, lots of people have played that venue. Man. Yeah. There's very nice people there too.
Yeah, it was an amazing place. Yeah. It was. Maybe I'll get there again one day. So I've been there, but I didn't even really realize that even New York was near a beach.
Yeah, there's Jones Beach. There's Brighton Beach, which in that Neil Simon play, Brighton Beach Memoirs. But yeah, Coney Island is a beach area. Yeah, there's lots of.
Is that where the Statue of Liberty is? Is it near there?
No, that's Ellis Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe we should save geography for another. Maybe you need to be adding that to the list of things that you do. Right?
No.
Instructing English boys where the hell the states of America are and what they involve.
It's funny because one of my best friends is my British agent.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen each other in person because of COVID, and he's gonna come over as soon as it's allowed. So he'll be here right after I have a concert early November. He's coming shortly after that.
Okay.
And he's going to come to, I'm from Boston. So he's going to come to Boston with me, and we're going to make some stops along the way. And so I'll be sort of his tour guide. Now, we've done this a few times before, going all the way up to Maine. In fact, we've gone.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's done the same for me. When I've been in London, we've done like weekend trips where we'll just rent a car and just drive around, and he'll show me lots of, like the countryside, and he'll show me, I remember seeing a little bit of Wales and being like, ooh, this is fancy. I had the best cider I've ever had in Wales.
Really?
Incredible.
And Wales is stunning. I mean, if you get a chance to go actually visit it. Bloody
yes.
beautiful, man.
We stayed one night in, I can't remember where it was or what it was, but it was this like, clearly this very old, everything in London is old compared to America, but this very, very old inn, and it was so cool. Really? It was like one of my favorite experiences of my life.
Oh,
it was
amazing, man.
We just don't have that over here.
Well, from our earlier chat, it seems that you're in London more than what I am.
Well, I was going there a ton in like 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I was there a lot. And then my dad died, and projects. Well, he was sick, so it was like, I know it's a weird thing to say, but like it was good.
No, I get,
and it's terrible to say it that way, but I'm sorry. It's a terrible.
No, I've had exactly the same experience. So
yeah.
Exactly what it's like,
and then I sort of, like I went through a breakup, and just things started changing in my life, and I decided to make a deal that I would only go back to London for a big show.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm going to talk about this on this. One of the reasons I wouldn't go back is that there was a critic over there who was so mean to me.
Really?
Yeah, for something I didn't do. He's since been fired from his job, so it's all good. But it was just really ugly. It was right after my dad died, and so I was like, you know what, London, peace out for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do my thing. But I did go back a few times and did a few like quiet events. Like one was a fundraiser. But I don't know. I didn't want to do anything until I had a production, which I do have one coming over there in February. I think I can announce this. I don't know if I can officially announce this, but I will be there.
Mate, I've only got 13 fans, so it's not going to be like that. Me Aunt Belle and the rest are going to be watching it, but they're not really mouthy. They're not that type.
So it's a play that my collaborator Crystal Skillman wrote, and it's called Rain and Zoe Save the World. And it's a really interesting play about climate change, but it's really like a coming of age road trip story of these two teenagers. That the piece is very theatrical, cinematic, and I went to the very first table reading of it, and I said to Crystal afterwards, "This needs a score." And she was like, "Great, you want to write it?" And so, we talked about it, and then it got picked up by producers, and then that thing of like, "Hey, remember you said you wanted to write this score? Let's make that happen."
How
so
exciting.
Yeah, so I'm doing that, and the sound design. I've only done sound design. I did a lot in college, but I've only done it on like digital platforms. Like I did an audio drama last year because there was no theater. I needed to find something else to do, and luckily, same collaborator. She and her husband had a play that was off Broadway called King Kirby, and they had an audio recording of the original cast reading it aloud. Yeah. And they said, could I take it? Sorry, there's an ambulance going by. This is what's great being close to the city, is all the ambulances. So she said, could I take the piece, cut it up into like four segments, and create a 4-part audio drama? And I scored it, and it's about Jack Kirby, who is sort of the unknown creator of all these Marvel characters. Stan Lee is the one that everyone thinks created them, but it's actually not true. It was Jack Kirby. So I got to write like a superhero theme, which was like so fun to do, and sort of like string romantic stuff mixed with a lot of time period material to help us understand where we are.
Yeah.
And I'd never done something like that before. I ended up doing another one for a program at Yale University.
Okay.
And that one was a horror one, which was super fun to do. So it was cool to be able to do something that I'd never done before.
So do you think COVID was detrimental to your work, or did it just kind of open up new avenues and ways of thinking?
It's a great question. I was set to have 4 productions in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
One was a world premiere, a piece that I've been working on for like 10 years that I love so much. And they were literally building the sets. And it was in San Diego. And I got a phone call, said, we have to cancel.
Gosh.
I drank an entire bottle of very expensive champagne that I'd been waiting for opening night.
No.
So I drank it that night instead. So it was weird because the career, some people's careers in any art form, or even in any, like being a doctor or whatever, but mine had been a nice steady climb, and then it sort of plateaued for a bit, like I said, when my dad died, and I sort of had to refigure life, and what projects I wanted to work on as well became a reason that I sort of stopped doing so many things.
Okay.
And I stopped doing concerts. That was a big thing as well, as that people just thought that I only wrote concerts. And I was like, no, these are songs from musicals. Wow. So when I finally was having 4 of them produced in the same year, I was like, yes, now we're back on the clock. And everything stopped. The truth of the matter is, though, it happened to everybody. And I had to remind myself, like, this wasn't because I sucked. This wasn't because someone didn't like me. This was literally because the world stopped turning for a little bit, and people were dying, and things were way more important than my shows. And I understood that, and sort of took the time to reevaluate things, like I've learned to say no. Yeah. Something I've never been good at before, is I've learned that my time is valuable. But I did get to do a lot of things that I'd never done before. In the digital world, one of my pieces that was a commission for children's theater, we actually turned into a film. And it was filmed virtually. It was edited virtually. It's called Sci Kids, and it was through the NJ Prep, the professional performance prep school that I teach at down the shore. They produced it. We were originally just going to do a reading, and then of course we couldn't. And we had like 3 or 4 kids that were supposed to be making their Broadway debut. So our students range from like 5 to, 50 or 60. Okay. The majority of them, cool. You should. We have an amazing training program. Mm-hmm. But I teach a lot of kids. It's something I actually love, and do private one-on-one, either voice or audition preparation or songbook building. But we had about 3 or 4 kids that were either in Broadway shows or about to make their Broadway debut. And then I had like 6 students that had just booked the lead in their school show, and then it all
collapsed. Yeah.
So in an amazing way, being involved with all these students kept me positive, because it had to, because I had to, I take what I do teaching very seriously. Mm-hmm. I have a responsibility not just to teach them how to do whatever it is they're doing, but to inspire them. Yeah. And so I would, each session have the biggest smile on my face and just try to stay positive, and it really helped. I guess you can only inspire if you're finding a way to be inspired yourself, right? Yes, very true. Not easy to bullshit that kind of stuff. No, but I knew that these kids had it a lot worse than I did. Mm. I kept having to remind myself that. And so we decided to do so. I'd never done something like this before at all. The final product is not necessarily like what my dream of it would be, but I'm very proud of it, because we did it. It took an entire year. So we filmed it in a month. Okay. And again, it was me on FaceTime while they were filming with their iPhone. and they would wear earbuds, and I would talk into them, and they would listen to their vocal track and sing with it. And then I spent thousands of hours editing,
wow,
orchestrating. It was absolutely insane. I would never do it again. However, it was exactly what I needed at that time because it kept me busy. It kept me doing something, and it gave me something with like sort of an end goal. And what was so amazing is that the prep rented an actual movie theater for the premiere of it. However, the day of the premiere, my roommate tested positive for COVID.
No.
So I couldn't even go see my year-long labor of love turn into to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
But I heard it went really well, and I heard it sounded really great.
Have you seen it on a big screen since then? Or
I watched it on my 60-inch television, but not in a cinema. Right. No, I will eventually. But it was cool. Like, it was really cool. This guy, John Velasco, who's a photographer and a filmmaker, we used this like sort of cutting edge software, and it really was a very difficult thing to do. But what else did I have to do?
Also, all the artists and creators have all had to morph, haven't they, just to fit into, like I said, to create new ways of creating an expression now. So,
well, what's so amazing is I had one of my shows optioned by Broadway producers doing a Zoom reading, and we didn't even sing. We literally just read the piece out loud, and 10 minutes afterwards, these producers that I invited, who are on another project of mine, texted me and said, "We just put an offer into your attorney." And I was like, "Oh my God, this worked!" I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it actually worked.
How super cool!
Yeah,
it's probably now going back. I mean, because things are, thank God, are starting to find a new norm. So. But now you've got all the experience of having to survive virtually as well. So it's even more to your list of experiences and talents, right?
Well, it's great because now I'm not afraid to. I actually prefer to do things that I'm afraid of. So yes, exactly. So during COVID, I had an idea, again, with the same collaborator. Her name is Crystal Skillman. She's brilliant. I pitched her an idea that I thought would be a great musical. And she went, "This sounds more like a cartoon, like an animated piece." And I was like, "Should we learn how to write animation? Should we?" And so she's taken like all these courses, and I took a couple of like seminars, and we have a pitch coming up. So like we actually got someone that's interested in our idea, and so we're pitching an animated television series.
That'd be amazing.
That's musical. Each episode would have one musical number in it.
Amazing.
And
going back to like the thing that you had worked for 10 years and the film sets in San Diego, etc. Would that ever come to pass again?
Not in San Diego. We are working with them in finding another venue. We were really close to getting getting a wonderful opportunity in New York City. Okay. The piece is a little big. I mean, it's only 11, but in New York, for some reason, 11 is now big for a cast. And it just, they couldn't financially make the numbers work. Right. And it's weird because it's my favorite score of mine. And it will find its way. Yeah. It's interesting. I get told that I have a very British sensibility in my writing, which is why I've done so much stuff in London, in Britain, yeah. And why they were very friendly and welcoming to me. And I've been told in America, "Well, your stuff doesn't sound like anybody else's," to which I'm like, isn't that kind of the point? I thought that was another ambulance. I thought that was the point. So this piece, I don't think would land in London until it had a production in New York. Okay. My other projects actually would do very well in London, and we're talking with a couple of London theaters for 2 of the projects. Mm-hmm. But this one, it's sort of about America. It's not about America. It's really about what's a woman's place in religion.
Okay.
Set in the South during the Clinton and Bush era, and it sort of tackles religious hypocrisy, something I'm very interested in.
Sounds like my kind of show.
And I've always been someone who, like, my very first show in New York City was a 4-person show called Daybreak, and I cast a black man, a black woman, an Asian American man, and a white woman. And this was like 11 years ago now. And it's just, I was in an a cappella singing group in college where I was the only white guy. And it was, this one of the best experiences of my life that has just continued with me. And so during COVID, when Black Lives Matter became so big, I was like, well, it's about time, everybody. And hoping that theaters would make these changes. Well, it actually helped a bunch of my shows because I always put in character descriptions of any role can be played by anybody, whether race, I even put gender, physical ability, and religion, because those are things that are very important to me. Now, there are a few shows where I'm very specific with what I'm looking for out of the character, but I'm still open to other possibilities. And I'd always wanted to, in this piece, because it's really about being an outsider. And I always wanted this piece just mostly for the warmth of sound, but to write into the script that the lead woman, and she has a sister, are black. And my co-writer kept saying, I'm not sure, we're white, that's a weird thing. And so when Black Lives Matter really came in, I was like, I'm going to continue pushing you, to my co-writer, I want to continue pushing you that let's do this. So we did a reading, and it just made the piece fly, like really makes sense. But again, we used for all the other characters every color of the rainbow because it's something I'm very passionate about. But it worked really, really well. And it's interesting, the play that we're doing in London in the winter, our whole team is very, very adamant that we are not an all white creative team. However, over in England, we're having a lot of trouble finding designers, other creatives that are persons of color. It's something that we are actually quite frustrated by. But anyway, it's a big part of what I do. Yeah, puppy.
Say, wait, I'm talking.
I have 2. They're snoring in the corner over there.
I wish mine would be bloody snoring. Well, that's amazing, man. Well, I was born and brought up in West London, and in some of my classes as a kid, I was probably one of 2 white kids in my class. I lived in a heavily Asian community, and it was really weird. When I was in a pop group in the 90s, it was 2 white guys and 2 black girls. And I remember doing a radio show, and they were like, "So what's it like being a multiracial band?" We were like, "Are we? Oh my God, we are. It's just my mate Nat and my mate Elaine and my mate Steve. Like, we didn't even notice the colour. It was so I found when I went to the United States, the level of discrimination was intense.
It's not. America's been challenging the last 6 years. Honestly, if I could put it very simply, is that there's just a lack of education over here, and the people that control what is being taught are really afraid to. Like, here's a great example. Why are we still celebrating Columbus Day?
I know.
That's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
And as someone who has a Native American tattoo on my arm, like that takes up most of my arm, it's really unsettling that there isn't clear education that this man came over and killed people, and that we're living in a land that's not really ours, right? It is genocide, but that's not what's taught.
Any of us whiteys are foreigners in this side of the world.
Exactly. And
I find it amazing living in Mexico where it's the same, man.
Right.
You know, obviously there's lots of, we call them extranjeros, so lots of expat community here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really interesting about, you know, a lot of them were ex-president supporters and stuff like that, and you know, really didn't like Mexico, really didn't like Mexicans, but can't afford to live in Florida Keys, so it's a lot cheaper to live here. I'm like, oh my god, like, and if you really want to build a wall, then why don't you give Mexico back the land that you took a few hundred years ago? It was just like,
and see, that's the problem, is that
really get any of it.
Everything gets sort of swept under the rug of the truth, and they try to make us look as that we are the smartest and most powerful and the best human beings in the world. And I think that's why we have so much chaos in our country right now, and why we're so divided. And I'm not saying that one group is any better than the other.
No,
I have my personal opinions, but look, people can think whatever it is that they want.
Absolutely.
What's unfortunate is that so much of what is being thought is due to a lack of education.
Of knowledge, yeah, completely.
And I don't just mean knowledge, I mean education.
Right.
Because of here's a great example. We had a great show on Broadway a handful of years ago called Allegiance. Mm-hmm. And my friend Stafford Arima directed it, and Lea Salonga was in it, and Telly Leung was in it, and it was just a wonderful show. Wow. And at intermission, and it was about the Japanese internment camps in America. And at intermission, I turned to my best friend and I said, "Is this a true story?" And she looked at me and she went, "Yes." And I was like, "Wait, this actually happened? America did this?" And she went, "Oh my God, you went to Yale. How do you not know this?" And I said, "I swear this was not taught to me."
Wow.
I did not know. This was not in my history book.
But there's so much you talk about.
And that's what I mean. Like, stuff where Americans did a bad thing gets sort of ripped out of the history book.
Same with England as well, though.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes.
I'm sure we weren't particularly India's best friends, to be fair.
Yes.
You know, but yeah, no, I think you find that with the Western world, right? It's
and that's why
we need to believe.
That's why I write the things that I write. I
push boundaries a little bit.
Yeah, and to sort of, my goal. That's exactly it. Is awareness. My goal is to have people leave any project that I work on with a different thought in their mind than they went in. Like I wrote a few songs for this off-Broadway show called Camp Morningwood, which was this like gay naked thing. And like, I never thought I would be a part of it, but a friend asked at the last minute if I would write a few songs. And I was like, okay. And then I saw what they were doing. And they were doing something really interesting where they didn't cast just hot dudes. They cast like regular looking people. They cast a really large man. And here's what was despicable. Many of the reviews commented on the fat guy.
No.
Yes. And so to me, that was like a great reminder of why it is important to do what we're doing. Exactly. I'm talking like some very well-known critics writing some really ugly stuff.
It's kind of going a little bit off subject, but I think living in the jungle in Mexico is and choosing to step back from the human race as much as I possibly can. I was just sitting around watching. I thought, what am I going to watch? And I watched a Netflix documentary on Britney Spears. Now, I was a pop singer when Britney was doing "Hit Me Baby One More Time," and when I was leaving a studio, she was coming into a studio. So we never kind of met and had coffee, but she was a big influence. But we were doing pop, and we were working with the same producer at the same time. And then when I saw this story, Britney versus Spears or something on Netflix, I was like, how is this even possible that this has been allowed to happen on any level of existence? It's because where there's money, where there's fame, there's power, and where there's power, there's fear, right?
Yes.
So we're just
Yes.
a very, very fearful race,
Yeah.
rather than being a community and embracing everything that is different and enjoying the. I mean, if you're going to be discriminative, because you're scared of something that is different, then you need to discriminate against your mum, your grandmother, your neighbor, her dog, because every other species, every other person is completely and utterly different to you. Completely.
Right. Right.
So,
And yet we're all the same.
yes,
Right.
absolutely.
That's the thing. And that's, it,
It's just
it's such a challenge because I don't know. My mom always said that I've just always been super sensitive and like very empathetic, that I would take on other people's emotions. But I've just never understood hurting someone's feelings because they're different
yeah, no, I mean,
at all.
no, I'm kind of totally in your tribe, because for
Yeah.
me, that's why I've almost had to. I mean, and it's a lot more intense here on this side of the ocean than it is in England. I have to be honest. Maybe we're a little bit more, I don't know, subtle with our hatreds and our passions, or maybe we just keep calm and carry on, darling. And but here I've just been like, oh my God, the hatred is like,
Yeah.
I've had to almost kind of just literally just stay in my jungle because
Yeah.
it's really bad. So thank God there are people like you that are, that are really making conscious decisions to battle that, because that's pretty brave for you as well. Because
Well, because otherwise, what's the point? Like, what's the point of being an artist if you're not going to create art that challenges people's point of view?
Absolutely.
Or yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm confused by, so for instance, like we really were hopeful with Broadway opening back up that producers would start casting and casting directors would start casting in a much more creative manner.
Mm-hmm.
And all these shows open back up, and Waitress is all white, and except for the one black girl, and Wicked is all white, and I love these shows, and I love all the people in them, and I'm not dogging them.
No.
I am, however, dogging the fact that the people that are in charge did not. Now, I do understand also that because contracts were halted, that a lot of people have to finish out their contract.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm hopeful that in maybe 6 months, when they start recasting, that they will look at things a little bit more
Openly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, I'm so bored with seeing the same people to play the same type of role, sing the same type of song. And it's, there's so much talent. That's the other thing. There's so much amazing talent.
Absolutely. But for me, like, I mean, you're going to probably hate me now. I don't want to be part of my show anymore. But I never really got into musical theatre when I was younger, because they all sang like this and they all sound the same, and you never know when the next person comes in. And it was like I could close my eyes and I'd open them and it's a different guy singing, but his voice was the same as the one before. His expression was taught rather than natural. And then this one woman came in, and she'd obviously been trained, amazingly trained, I think Lane's Theatre Arts or somewhere, or somewhere in London. But she had this edge about her that was almost a little bit contradictory to the role that she had within a musical. And it was like, I was like, I love this girl already. She made it exciting, because she was, for me, just with her vocal prowess, she was just pushing those boundaries. She was like, I'm not gonna sound the same. She was like, already like, there's a little bit of grit now. I like this.
Well, I think, it's interesting, because I think that's similar to what we were just talking about. Is I think that voice for theater used to be taught in a very white, very operatic manner, in which you came in with one voice, and then by the end of your schooling, you left with a different voice, but it sounded exactly like everybody else's.
Absolutely, yeah. Well,
in the last handful of years, that has changed, and it's because pop has really, thank God, come into Broadway.
Right.
And so now we're looking for singers that sound like they could be on the radio. We're looking for unique voices versus every voice to sound the same.
Right. Yeah.
I was a kid writing musicals in my backyard.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. But I was writing, oh my God, they're going to totally make fun of me for this, but I was writing like jukebox musicals before jukebox musicals were even a thing. I would take whatever song was on the radio and I would put it into the show. And
wow, amazing, man. I was just a little shy kid who I just sat on my swing in my garden and just would sing. That was it. Could never have done. I don't even know how I've done what I've done over my years, because I couldn't even say boo to a goose. But it was bloody amazing. And the good thing about what you're doing is also, we're going to cross into the prepnj.com, which is a school for performing arts, I guess, right? I mean, probably online at the moment, but
it's both online and in person. Okay. But because I don't live really close to there, I've been, clearly because of COVID, but right when I was about to go back to teaching in person, the Delta variant came in and we just decided, let's just keep it this way. I have to be honest, I prefer teaching virtually now because it's one-on-one, which I've always, but I don't really have to be playing anymore.
Right.
I don't really have to be reading music. I can just be watching the singer and I can get like this close, and I can make them get really close to the camera so I can watch their tongue. I can see what they're doing with their larynx. I can check that they're breathing from low enough. And it's really helped me, I think, become a better teacher for my students because I'm just so much closer. But yeah, so the prep, as I mentioned earlier, they kind of saved my life during COVID because of the 4 productions that were canceled. They gave me opportunity to turn Psy Kids into a film, but also I started teaching. I was teaching for a while, like 4 days a week, which normally I only teach 2 days a week. Okay. But because our students needed something to do because everyone was homeschooled, their parents would be like, go have a lesson for an hour and I can clean the house. It's like, so that,
just give me a break.
Yes, truly. But it was really, what the prep offers and the reason. So I used to teach at NYU, where I've had several students win Tony Awards. And then I taught at a school called the New York Film Academy, which has a musical theater wing. Okay. And I helped to develop the pop program within that musical theater wing. Sort of like how to sing pop music in theater, in a way. So one of my students is one of the founders of the prep, one of my former students from the college. And she asked me one day if I would come down and do a master class. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this age. I'm so used to college students. And 5 minutes in, I was like, oh my God, these kids are, first of all, they're brilliant. Yeah. And secondly, they were just so wonderful. And she was like, would you come back? And I said, sure. And then it started being like, do you want to come every week? I was like, sure. And then it was, would you come 2 days a week? Would you come 3 days a week? So I fully left teaching at the college level at the end of 2018 and have been just at the prep from the beginning of 2019 onward. And, they offer voiceover. So that's one of the things that didn't disappear during COVID. Voiceover work actually went booming. And our students were booking voiceovers literally every day. Wow. We were having another booking. It was fantastic. So we do voiceover for like commercials and cartoons and vocal as well. We teach private voice. We teach acting for film, acting for TV, commercial acting, college prep. I do that as well. I help my students prepare for college to get into one of the performing colleges that they want to go to. It's a program. They blow my mind. Jesse and Teresa are the two owners of it. And they took this small little idea and have turned it into this incredible school. And, we're not like a 9 to, like you drop your kid off at 8 a.m. and you pick them up at 5. We're not that. It's if you have a self-tape, for instance, a lot of auditions now are virtual. Okay. They will give you material, you learn the material, you put it on tape, on video, and then you send it to them. And that's something that the prep has really mastered. And again, why our students are booking things left and right. Wow. And then when Broadway started coming back, I think we have 2 students currently on Broadway that both just made their debut in the past week.
Wow, man.
Both are my students, mixed with other teachers as well. And then we have 3 of the young kids in Frozen. We have an adult in Moulin Rouge who also made her Broadway debut. Someone going into the Christmas Story tour, the Elf tour. Like our students are, and it's great because for the last almost 2 years, when they couldn't really have auditions, they were training.
Yeah.
And it worked. It really helped because. So it's wonderful. I've always been a believer that an artist should teach, because I always thought I was going to be a doctor just because I was naturally smart and I thought that's what smart people did.
Right.
And I had an amazing high school drama teacher who was just so encouraging and sort of helped me understand that I would be great in writing and in directing and the visual aspect of it. And like, I'd never thought of that before. And he was like, weren't you writing and putting on plays in your backyard as a kid? It's like, oh yeah, I guess I was. And then in college, I had a great mentor, a professional director that Yale had brought in, who I'm still friends with. And he got me like my first job as a performer, and he got me a huge concert in New York City a handful of years ago at the W Hotel. And so I just always understood how much teachers were important to me. And I wanted, this sounds so cheesy, but I wanted to be important to someone.
You can completely change someone's life.
Completely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think as well, like, especially when you're teaching kids, they're sponges.
Yes.
So the fact that their teacher is open and honest and non-discriminative, and I kind of wish every teacher was like you, right?
Thank you. And I try to be as, very encouraging, but at the same time, my job is to help them understand, be real. Mm-hmm. That, like, I'll give you a very fast example. I had a student yesterday who was having trouble with a note, and she went, forget it, I don't want to do the song. And I went, well, that won't work. And she was like, well, I can't get it. I said, you can't get it now? Mm-hmm. But I bet you, if you keep practicing, in an hour, in 2 hours, in 2 days, you will have it. But you're that generation, you're so used to getting everything with this phone, that you're so used to getting the result like that. And that's just not how entertainment industry works, how being an artist works. It takes hard work and dedication. She sent me a video today of her singing the song perfectly.
Have you got it? Yeah.
She was like, I'm so sorry, I was just frustrated. And I was like, I understand, but I can't let you get away with that, because that type of thinking, if you're going to think that way, then you shouldn't be in this industry.
Or you need to have over 3 million friends that are going to give your Instagram and TikTok likes, because that's the only other way you're going to do it, right?
Totally.
If you don't want to do hard work, then you've got to have a lot of mates.
Right. Exactly.
It's a different world now, man.
Oh my gosh. Totally different world.
Where there wasn't, internet wasn't even part of anything when I was a pop star back in the 90s. So it was the most intense hard work of my existence. And, you wanted to go and you wanted people in Wales to see you. You had to go and do a 3-song PA in some dodgy ass nightclub. And then half of them were either too drunk or too eat off their face to even know you were there. So you had to go back 3 months later and do it again. And then maybe 3 people would recognize who you were. And it was just slog after slog after slog. And now I can sell albums in Ethiopia just by sitting and talking like this. Bizarre.
Yep.
But
it is.
But thank God you are having that input, that reality, that keeping those kids in check. And also, you might have a new student at some point, because
all right.
I would love to do some voiceover stuff at some stage. I might be coming to you.
We have amazing teachers there.
If anybody wants like a Downton Abbey kind of esque voice, then I have a real one. Yeah,
we have 2 or 3 different accent specialists. Like we are a fully staffed school. Amazing. That it's literally a training program. It's interesting. It reminds me of some of the programs that I got to do master classes at in London. Even though those you're there from 8 a.m. till 6 o'clock at night, but the amount of different opportunities of what to learn. In America, if you go to musical theater school, you study musical theater, which
Right.
I think is not helpful enough, because you need to know how to do voiceover today. You need to know how to do, I mean, so many of my friends that are around my age, when COVID happened and they were like, they want me to video myself? What? I don't understand. How do I do that?
It's taken me 7 weeks to work out how to put a bloody green screen behind me. And even I'm just waiting for that clunk where it all just drops halfway through an interview. I'm sure it's all more luck than judgment that is happening. But yeah, no, I get it. It's a completely opening my. I just really, really didn't want to open TikTok because I'm not technically savvy. My friend sent me a version of Logic Pro for my studio. I have a version of Logic Pro. I have interface. We call it interface. So like where I plug my microphone.
Yep.
No idea how to even put my voice on a track. It's been here for 2 months. No.
That I can help you with.
This I might need to help.
Yeah, because I do.
It's like, oh my God. So for me, it's like I can get up. I've sung in front of 400 million people worldwide. I've done over 5,000 shows in my life. And I'm still 30 years later, still singing. Very different. Still, like evolving into what my clients need because I'm in a different place now. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I've done the work from working man's clubs to schools to theatres, everything,
Yep.
And it's just like, oh my God, but I still need more because I don't know how to do TikTok.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, I had to teach a lot of people how to use Logic, or GarageBand is the free one that comes with everyone's Mac. I forgot how to use GarageBand.
GarageBand. We say GarageBand.
Oh, GarageBand. GarageBand.
Garage.
But
it's so much prettier in America.
But yeah, so many people had to learn really quickly how to utilize their computers to continue to create art during this pandemic. I was always pretty good at Logic, but with everything having to do with SciKids and then some of the recording stuff and the audio dramas that I did, I am now a whiz at Logic Pro. Yes, okay, a whiz.
I'm so going to be questioning you then, dude.
I'm happy to help.
So through this whole interview, we've had going underneath here where people can find you. Is there anywhere else you want people to go and hunt you down? We've got the BobbyCronin.com, we've got the PrepNJ.com, we've also got your lists of your Twitter, your Instagram. Where else? Where else do you want me to send people? Where else can they come and
That's good. I don't really use Facebook too much other than just to post, it's connected to my Instagram. So when I post something on Instagram, it goes up on there. But I know a lot of my mom is 80. A lot of her friends are on Facebook, so I try to utilize it sometimes. Okay. But I'm not really great at social media because I try to keep my opinions to myself.
It's safer.
And it is, and it's weird because I'm not someone that tries to exist in like to not stir controversy. It's more honest, if I'm being 100% honest, it's that I really would like to set a good example for my students. And I would like my art to speak for itself. And I'm not someone that's like, I woke up today, everybody, and I'm going to win my Tony Award today. And it's just not who I am.
No.
I do have a TikTok, but I don't really use it. I used it once to tell, I don't know what came over me in that moment, but I told a very personal story on TikTok, and it got, thousands and thousands and thousands of views.
Oh, amazing.
But I was horribly sexually harassed by someone in the Broadway community when I first moved here, and I never really talked about it. It's one of the reasons I don't perform anymore, is because of this person. Mm-hmm. And this person is still very active in the industry. And I didn't say the person's name because I just wanted to
an awareness of what goes on.
Yeah. And I was shocked at the amount of people that were like, well, it's your fault. I was like, oh my God, I'm never talking again on social. Like this is like, really?
But you know what?
But
But what you're saying about Facebook, you can post the most innocent thing, and the people are like, I can't believe you are so detrimental to. I'm like, what? Like, you've known me for 20 years. Why would you even think that I would be saying this is humor? It's like, oh,
it's really
crazy
frustrating.
times. Yeah,
it is.
crazy.
And I think, I think people are just, they're angry, they're upset, they're frustrated by COVID, they're frustrated with life, and they sit behind their screens or their little phones, and they type whatever they want because they're not going to get in trouble. They're not going to stand up in front of you. If someone said half of these things to me in person, I would punch them. Yes, I am that person. I was a hockey player. I don't agree with violence, but there are times
when it's the only language that works.
If you're gonna you see, but I know that you wouldn't say that to me in person because that's the thing. These people, they know it's not right.
Yeah,
but they got nothing else to do.
There's an amazing thing I saw on Facebook where it was a bunch of dogs either side of a gate, and they were going, rah, 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 and the gate opened, and they were all just calm, and then the gate closed down. That's social media, isn't it? It's like,
it is.
You're brave behind your screen, dude.
Yep.
Bring it. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Well, Bobby, I've got to go. But it has been bloody amazing to talk to you. Thank you.
I have enjoyed this so much.
And I think we need to be doing this a bit more regularly. And I'm definitely going to be quizzing you about my Logic Pro because I need to be singing again and I don't know how to do it. But thank you so much. Everyone's going to know where to find you. Good luck with everything. Please give good old Blighty my love and my regards. I miss it like crazy. So make sure you enjoy your time there. But we'll catch up. And when you have new things in the pipeline and new things coming up, then please will you come back and tell us all about it? Absolutely. Very happy to. You are amazing, Mr. C. Thank you very much. Much for being part of my show. My pleasure. Bye-bye. How amazing. What a talent. I wouldn't even mind a quarter of that talent, to be completely honest with you. But anyway, thank you so much for being part of today's show. Thank you so much for joining me and Bobby. If you want to get in touch with him, you have seen where you can get in touch with him. Please do not hesitate. And if you want to check out the Prep MJ, which is the school for, oh my gosh, let me just remember. It's an acting, voice training, piano, music therapy, triple threat dance, tap dance, audition, callback, preparations, college prep, self-taping and editing, voiceover training, acting reels, vocal demos. I mean, the list is endless. Artist development, performer development. You can catch it on www.theprepmj.com. The Prep as in the Prep, NJ as in New Jersey.com. So go and check it out. We've posted links. There's no excuse. We'll leave you with a little bit of music and we'll see you soon. Bye.
She feels better. She pulls the covers close to feel a little less alone. Sleeping sideways in this sacred bed that's made for two, a nightly four-pillowed reminder, like the street light outside her window, where the couples kiss goodnight. But it's just history of sadness, waiting to explode with laughter, or a lonely heart waiting patiently for some thunder and some reverie so easily shattered. watching frisbees fly on by. Sometimes they're caught, sometimes they're not, but at least they can feel a touch that is real, the touch of someone's hand. Sleeping sideways for her lover's hand, she's waiting. For the soulmate in the shadows, twisted by fate. You'll find her here, sleeping sideways, so she does.